So for this case presentation, I decided to do the record option because I felt like it gave me a chance to do some reflection on this pandemic and what I learned from it. So for what's been going on with COVID-19, I've learned a lot about my ability to adjust quickly to a new situation, and I've also learned that I need to give myself grace for when things happen that are outside of my control. So for coping, one thing that I do is I go for walks outside because I want to maximize as much sunlight as I possibly can, since we're basically quarantined and we're not supposed to go out unless it's necessary. I've also used connecting with friends like over the phone or over FaceTime as a way to cope. Another way that I'm coping with this pandemic is that I am reflecting a lot about what I'm feeling personally as well as professionally with this pandemic going on and how it's affecting me. So one thing that I'd say that I'm doing well is that I'm able to keep up with class assignments, and I'm able to stay level-headed. It doesn't feel like I've cracked under the pressure as of yet. Another thing that I'd say I'm doing well is that I'm becoming better at taking things one day at a time and not letting things that I can't control overwhelm me. One thing that I'm not doing well is I feel like my eating habits have kind of suffered as a result of this pandemic because I want to eat a lot of stuff that I'm probably not supposed to eat. I also feel like another thing that I'm not doing well is allowing people to help me whenever they can in whatever way I can. I usually try to handle things on my own. This applies to the social work profession because a lot of group work is involved in social work, and that means that you have to work with other people and be okay with sometimes letting them know what your weaknesses or strengths are so that you can work better with that person as a team. The things that I'm doing well, like not allowing myself to become too overwhelmed, or just learning how to take things one day at a time, that translates to social work because if I'm taking things one step at a time, it's easier for me to not get overwhelmed with caseloads and other things that I might have to do as a social worker. One way that this pandemic has affected or will affect my social work practice going on is that I might be able to actually do some telehealth, or I might be more prone to supervision Zoom calls. Another way that this pandemic change my practice is that it'll make me more sympathetic and empathetic towards clients who are going through a crisis and having trouble with the transition process. It's made me realize that the important thing to remember is that when working with clients, sometimes it's important to let them know that sometimes you've been where they are, that you can understand their situation to a certain extent, but to also make sure that I'm not oversharing when I'm doing those things.